Hello YouTube. In today's video I'm going to start blending everything on this pistol. Basically everything that needs to be aligned or blended I will be doing today. I decided to start with the underside of the beavertail grip safety and frame tanks. As you can see, I wrapped a bit of string around the beavertail at the bottom, at the lowest position basically, to give myself all of this room to work with the file here on the sides, and because this is the tallest protruding area, this is the good spot where you can grab it basically to hold it down. The reason why I'm doing this is because you probably saw in all of my previous videos I like to blend the bottom of the grip safety in the depressed position. For the top, I'm going to have the beavertail actually sitting out as far as it can go with the mainspring housing. But for now, this is the position I want to start with. The other thing you'll probably notice is that I have a thumb safety in here that I plan to use with this pistol. And right now the frame is positioned in such a way that the thumb safety is forced all the way down. And the reason why that is done is so that I can blend the thumb safety at the same time as I'm blending the side of the frame. So, and right now there's quite a bit of material I'm going to have to remove from the side of the frame to get to the beavertail, and also from the tangs to get level with the beavertail. Once again, I will be using a half-round file, and I'm going to start on this side, the tang, frame tang, towards the thumb safety. So I'm going to position the file kind of at an angle, and the most important thing to mention is to not file directly across. I'm filing and I'm moving the file laterally as well, or diagonally rather. So that's what we're going to start doing. For right now I want to start touching only the tang. As you can see, I've touched the thumb or grip safety a little bit, but at this point I should be only touching the tang. And at the same time, you can probably notice that what I'm doing is I'm also filing a little bit at this angle, a little bit at this angle, a little bit, well, you'll see it a little bit like this. So I'm kind of making sure that I'm actually creating a round as I'm filing, as opposed to just filing in series of flats. And all I'm doing here is trying to follow the shape of the beavertail. At this point I'm going to start touching both as I'm sliding my file off of the tang onto the beavertail. And all I'm doing is I'm trying to basically make sure that by the time I reach the beavertail, everything is going to be on the same kind of round transition. Like you're seeing right there, I'm starting to touch the beavertail. one side is essentially blended, rough blended, I should say. We can start to see how good of a fit we got on the beaver tail to frame. Obviously when it's all cleaned up, it'll look a little bit different, but that's the reason why I had the thumb safety installed. You see that I'm actually filing onto that as well as I'm rounding this way. So that's why it's important to have the thumb safety also installed, otherwise it would have protruded out towards the back, and afterwards it's going to be blended to look nice basically. But for now that side is pretty much done. This will address when we reposition the frame, that frame sticking out on the side. So right now I can start working on this side. Only for that, what I want to do is get rid of this the thumb safety pin protruding on the other side, because otherwise I'm going to file into it. So what I'm going to do is reposition the frame slightly and take out my thumb safety a bit, just enough to where the pin is no longer protruding in. Let's see. I was positioned, I guess, this way, just so that you can continue to see what I'm doing. Okay. You can see that I'm now I'm using the flat side of the file. Oops. Okay. Hopefully you can see that blending. Okay, now the same exact process, only we're going to be working on these sides. You can see that now beaver tail and frame are on the exactly same plane. In the deep rest position. So now all I need to do is just sand it and get rid of my filing marks, and it's essentially done. The thumb safety, I'm going to give a little bit more treatment just to make sure that this gap, or the visible area of the frame, will continue exactly the same all the way down, or something like that. We'll figure it out, but essentially this area is now done. I'm going to use the same half round file, and I'm going to start getting rid of our filing marks. Just so you can see. Oops. I don't know how it looks on camera. We'll see when I'm editing this video. But it doesn't look bad to me. The other thing I kind of forgot to mention is that what we can do right now is move the thumb safety out slightly on this side. I'm going to lay the frame flat, kind of like that. Make sure that it's out. We still want to keep it in there to keep the beaver tail attached, but we don't want the pin to protrude. Let's see, this way you'll see better, I think. Okay, and now I'm going to use let me get a different file, just a flat file, and I'm going to file down the sides here. I found a triangle file, it doesn't matter. Just need a flat side, and I want it to be kind of fine, not coarse. And I'm going to lay the file flat on the frame, and favoring the beaver tail slightly, I'm going to start filing that side right there. this side is done as well. You can see that. Again, you can see that line between the beaver tail and the frame, and again, it's only because the frame had rounded edges. That's why it's there. So the underside of the beaver tail and the sides are now done. Everything looks very symmetrical, so I think we're good. Yeah, I think we are good. I was doing that off camera as I was checking, so you can see how it came out right here. Now I took the beaver tail out, and what I need to do is just sand down these edges right here that were left very sharp. What I'm going to do is install the slide, install the mainspring housing, and we have this tool from Harrison Design, and what this tool does is allows us to basically push on the beaver tail from the inside. It goes where the trigger goes, basically. Make sure that it's going to sit out as far as the mainspring housing will allow it, and I'll just show you. So we'll put this tool where the trigger goes, like that. You can see that, right? Then we'll install the beaver tail. We'll put our thumb safety in place. Holes are a little dirty, or have probably some stuff left in them. Let's get our mainspring housing. In this case, it's the Chen Magwell Gen 2. As you can see, here's what it looks like. So we'll get that, we'll put it in, and then using the tool, using this set screw in the front, I'm going to start pushing the beaver tail out as far as it will go. Then I'm going to grab a wrench and kind of lock this set screw in, but you can see the beaver tail is now pushed out. So let's get an Allen wrench. Okay, let's make sure that it's tight. This is pretty tight, pretty good. So now our beaver tail is locked and it cannot be depressed. And that's the position we're going to use to blend the top of the beaver tail, right here. So this is now done. Now we just need to install the slide. Okay, now I have the slide installed. Notice that I already have the extractor and the ejector in place because everything will be blended at the same time. Alright, here we go. Again, half round file. That's what we're going to use. And I'm going to have to remove a bit off of the frame, and I think maybe a little bit off of the beaver tail itself. Now I've positioned the frame and the pistol basically vertically in my vise, and I'm locking it down by the slide, not the frame. The slide has a recoil spring and guide rod in place and the barrel, so it's actually sitting as far forward as it would be normally on a pistol. Alright, so I'm going to chamfer the edges of the slide right now while it's all clamped. There's no reason not to do it now. I'm going to put a heavy chamfer on the back. This right there. Looks pretty good to me.